Welcome to Nashville.con, where we learn about public image versus true identity. We learn about big egos and yes people. We learn about narcissists and codependents, because who you are on stage is called an act, or what we call a performance. I'm Heidi Jo Guthrie. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm going to take a drink of my hot lemon water, which we have been hearing throughout the grapevine is good for the COVID virus. So I'm going to take a sip of that and then we're going to begin. We are going to talk about who should be the lead singer. Well, everybody's got an opinion about that. Who should be the lead singer in Nash Vegas? Well, on the road, those who can, those with the most talent, sometimes. I've been in some band situations where half of the band members and the backup singers could sing better than lead singers. But I've been in situations where I might have felt bigger than my britches and thought, well, I can sing better than them. And when they got up there and they started to sing, I quickly realized, oh, that's why they have the record deal. My goodness. Jennifer O'Neill was one of those people. Wonderful talent. My goodness. She can stand alone with no backup singer. Other people who should be the lead singer. Well, I hate to say it, those with money. A lot of people that come here, you know, some people's parents sold the whole farm and put millions into their career. You know, we sometimes forget that the music business is called a music business. So we all have our favorites of who we like. And there's been a lot of kind of what I would call country music wars. And I kind of feel saddened to hear about these kinds of things. You know, people say, oh, it should be only old country, or I like the newer country. I don't like my grandparents' country music, and I don't like this, and people shouldn't rap in country music. Here's my opinion, and you can say whatever you want to. Man, I love the old classics because of my age, you know. Don Williams and people like that, that's what I grew up listening to, and I love that. But I love the young people and what some of these people are doing. Is it Marin Moran? Is that who that is, Darren?
Marin Morris.
Marin Morris. I love what she's standing up for. My goodness, talking about subjects that we wouldn't dare talk about. She's, you know, becoming a mama and still maintaining that she's a sexual woman. We couldn't talk about those things or write about those things years ago. So I'm really proud of where young women are going to kind of take a strong stand in the music industry. So I think there's room for everybody. I like old, I like new. When people start saying that ain't country music, my point is this. I always figure this, you know, there's certain sayings where people say, well, how much should you pay for something? Whatever somebody's willing to pay for it. Art is subjective. If something is pleasant to your ear, listen to it. There's room in this world for everybody. Those are my feelings. Now, who should be the lead singer at home? Okay, we're talking about Nashville and the music industry and what we can learn from relationships off a tour bus where you have a plethora of all these different personality types. I once was in a local band in the Portland area before I came to Nashville, and we ended up calling our band Western Addiction. You had one person chewing his nails, the other person was eating a bag of potato chips, the other person was chain smoking, the other person was drinking a beer, you know, the other person was like obsessively popping multivitamins. So we ended up calling the band Western Addiction, which was kind of fun. But all that to say is, you know, when it comes to who should be the lead person, you know, we have to understand at home the things that happen at work or the things that happen on stage really doesn't need to come home. And sometimes people that tour, when they come home and they're used to getting catering, they're used to getting sometimes a bunk, you know, not too good of conditions, and sometimes they get great conditions where you have a nice Marriott hotel or the chocolate chip cookie hotel, whatever that one, you get nice hot chocolate chip cookies. That was my favorite. But, you know, sometimes we realize that there's no one to cater to us at home. We don't get backstage catering, and sometimes your wife is home and she doesn't get, you know, per diem. She's taking care of the kids. She can't have a day off on the road and a break and stop and tell jokes. She's cleaning the house and taking care of the kids. And, you know, sometimes I think male musicians and female musicians need to know that of their significant other they leave behind. But at home, there doesn't need to be a star and a fan that worships them. When that happens in a relationship at home, love cannot exist. Love can only exist on equal ground. And even if you are not in the music industry, and let's say that you're just a crackerjack at work, everyone loves you, the top salesperson, you're this, you're that, you win this award, that award. When you come home, basically you still need to be humble enough to clean a toilet, in my opinion. I think that certain jobs are beneath you and they're good enough for your wife or good enough for this person. I just think that we all have to realize that love only can exist in equal ground. You can't have a narcissist with a huge ego that thinks they need to be worshipped, and a codependent that's like, I hope you're proud of me, please tell me I did okay. Those kind of relationships are toxic. They don't work. After a while, somebody's going to get hurt. So who should be a singer, the lead singer at home? My advice is to hold on to your voice, whether it's at the workplace or whether, especially when it's at home. People pleasers like myself really had a hard time. I date one person that likes straight hair, I wore my hair that way. One person liked curly hair, I wore my hair that way. Recently, a fun friend on Facebook was saying, tell me these specific things and I'll tell you your color. And my response to him was, I don't let anyone anymore tell me my color. I say who I am and what my color is. So holding on to your voice at home means, in a relationship situation is something I've struggled with. And the reason I'm talking and sharing about this is because it's something that I've had to go to a lot of therapy to hold on to. I was diagnosed with CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress, from too much emotional and mental abuse. Living as a pleaser. This fellow I'm in a relationship with likes this, so I'm going to be that. This person likes this, so I'm going to be that. This person rides Harley Davidson, so I'm going to ride Harleys and wear biker stuff. This person likes this, so I'm going to be whatever this person needs me to be and change my identity with every person. And that's my nature, to people please. We sometimes learn that in in our first relationship, which is our family growing up. I had a very high achieving family. I was the beauty queen that won the beauty queen competitions and whatnot. And I have to just say, in my opinion, if I had a little girl, wouldn't let her do that. I didn't think my ears stuck out and my hips were too big until I entered a beauty competition. But it was part of the Miss America program, and I ended up getting money for school. But I don't recommend it. I don't think that people should stand up for people to pick out their flaws. I don't think that's good for your self-worth. So hold on to your voice at home. Something I got to mention that I've noticed, especially in the entertainment industry or Hollywood, or even to a guy at work, sometimes women and children can become a man's trophies. And a husband can be a trophy. I want you to wear this. I want your hair to look like this. We got to remember that women and children are not trophies for a man. And a man is not a trophy for a woman. Women saying, what kind of car does he drive, or what is his image? Love is based on things much deeper than that. It's not based on public image. It's based on true identity, which we try to go over on this program. So women and children aren't trophies, and spouses and children certainly aren't property. Property has no feelings. So a lot of times when a narcissistic person thinks that you're the trophy on his arm to wear at events, I always call that a seat filler in Nashville. I've been invited on dates a lot of times to big country events, and I felt like a seat filler. They wanted to show up with someone they thought was attractive, so sometimes that can be a little dehumanizing. But all that to say is, we're not seat fillers, and we're not trophies, and women aren't property, and neither are children. Guess who needs to have a lead singer voice? Children. Children need a voice. When I was on the road, I would see people who had children, and of course on stage, this is my wife, this is my kid, or this is my husband, these are my kids. And I can't tell you going down the road the calls of, I just want to tell you happy birthday, I'm sorry I'm not there, sorry daddy couldn't make it, I'm sorry I couldn't be there. And we'd be going down the road, and I was so determined, if I ever became a parent, that wasn't going to be me. I admire those people that do take their kids on the road with them so that they can be there and be with mom and dad. I admire that very much. Probably is not an easy thing to do, but for me, that wasn't going to happen. I wanted to be home and color the Easter eggs and have the birthday parties, and That's why I didn't have a child till I was 42. So all that to say is children need a voice, to say, I'm not comfortable going to this show. I'm not really comfortable standing in an autograph line. I'm not really comfortable with everybody worshiping you on stage. I just want my mom and dad right now and to get away from the crowd. I think there's a lot of kids that feel that even when parents aren't in the entertainment industry and other jobs. Get off the cell phone. Put it down at 7 o'clock. I remember going to a marriage counselor and them telling my significant other, at 7 o'clock, put the phone in the basket. You don't need to be accessible to everyone all the time, all your fans. And I know a lot of women, sadly, I go to a playground. The women, while the kids are swinging by themselves or doing this, used to be that, we played with our children, and I hope we can get back to that. So children need a voice. They need to be able to say, I'm not okay with this. Sometimes in Nashville, I have seen so many times where I saw that look on the faces of an artist's child, and I knew they didn't want to be there, and I knew they wanted mom and dad, and they wanted to get away from the stage and lights. And so children need to be a lead singer too. So whose voice should you listen to? I definitely think that we need to listen to our loved ones behind closed doors. We all need to be the lead singer at home, not just daddy, not just mama, and certainly not just the kids. That we all need a voice in a relationship. If you don't have children and you're in a relationship with a significant other, make sure you both listen and you both talk. Now, sometimes people can say, well, you talk all the time. And I've never been a person that wasn't a talkative person. But then I could go a long time and not talk, and it was like pulling teeth to try to get something out of somebody. So a lot of times a covert narcissist can withhold words so that you beg them to talk. I've heard people who had covert narcissist wives who would sit there and they would withhold. So neglect and withholding words is one of the most painful things. If you've ever heard of a silent treatment, a covert narcissist will typically, if they're displeased with you, I'm fine. And they will stay silent for a long time. That silence is painful. Something that I want everybody to try to remember that I learned from an incredible psychologist. So take this to heed because it cost me a lot of money, is words wound. Yes, we all know words wound. But did you know that silence kills? There are more women and men on mental wards who have been neglected, have been given the silent treatment, and have been basically treated like they don't exist. That sort of thing destroys the mind. It causes bruises that are invisible to the mind when someone feels that you're not even worth the breath to speak to. A lot of kids would rather their parents spank them than to just be silent. So please remember, words wound, silence kills. And the number one voice you need to listen to, who needs to be the lead singer in your life, the number one thing is listen to yourself. Two things. Listen to your own voice. What is your own voice telling you? I really need this, but I'm going to settle for this. I really am not comfortable for that, but I don't want to displease him or her. Listen to your voice. If there's a red flag, like somebody says, would you like another glass of wine? And you say, oh no, that's okay. Sure you do. Red flag of a narcissist. Say, no, thank you. I wouldn't care for another glass of wine. So, one other voice. Don't forget to listen to that still, small voice inside. Whatever your worldview, my worldview happens to be a follower of Christ. So I listen to that still, small voice. And I don't go to a huge church building a lot of times, although I do love to go once in a while. I like to kind of go out in the desert like Christ did and be alone with God, or pray or meditate, or whatever is your preference, and listen to that still, small voice. And listen to what your own voice is telling you and those red flag signs of a potential abusive person. So I just would like to thank you for joining us. I would like you to also try to go to the links in the YouTube pages, because we're going to try to include a special song by a wonderful songwriter each time that we go that has something to do with what we're talking about. And I know it's going to really touch you, because most of the great things that come from people's lives and hearts get put into a song. So I want you to remember, you're not alone. If you've been hurt, used, or bruised, It's not okay with me. I don't care if everyone else says your significant other is a saint. It's not okay with me, because what they do behind closed doors and how they treat their own is what's important. I hear you. You have a voice, so use it. Write me at Nashville.con @gmail.com. Nashville.con, like con artist. Nashville.con @gmail.com. Don't forget to like us if you like these podcasts on Nashville.com. Please share with your friends. I know that we're going to grow together and learn a lot. Thanks you for joining me.